Free Vietnam! Free Vietnam! Free Uyghurs! Free Uyghurs! Free Uyghurs! Well, guys, the next speaker we have from the Federation for Democratic China. I think I know very well. He is one of the most active activists in agriculture. So, you know.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for your support. Over here, I see Chinese people, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Hong Kongers, Taiwanese, but mostly I see humans. What we are fighting for here today and forever is our right as humans, our freedom as humans. No matter what race we come from, we are all humans. That's why we fight for our human rights. I want to bring to your attention the white revolution that's ongoing in China.
Từ thành phố Toronto, Canada, tôi Nguyễn Vinh xin chào tất cả quý khán giả của đài. Hôm nay là ngày thứ Bảy, ngày 10 tháng 12 năm 2022. Trước cái tòa thị chính của thành phố Toronto, như quý vị nhìn thấy, đây là cái đài kỷ niệm tận vong của thành phố Toronto. Thì ngày hôm nay là ngày, như quý vị biết, ngày hôm nay là ngày quốc tế nhân quyền. Thì tôi xin nói một tí xíu về cái ngày quốc tế nhân quyền như thế nào. Thì như tất cả chúng ta biết, sau định nghĩa thế chiến thì nó được chấm dứt vào năm 1945. Thì nhân loại phải mất tới hơn 3 năm sau, thì tới ngày 10 tháng 12 năm 1948. Thì lúc đó là sau hơn 3 năm thì nhân loại mới soạn ra được cái bản tuyên ngôn quốc tế nhân quyền, và nó được công bố vào ngày 10 tháng 12 năm 1948 tại Paris do đệ nhất phu nhân là Anna Illinois Eisenhower được công bố tại thành phố Paris. Thì tới ngày hôm nay là 74 năm sau, 74 năm thì cái tinh thần của cái ngày quốc tế nhân quyền đã được hoàn trải trên toàn thế giới. Thì ngày hôm nay tại thành phố Toronto, theo tôi nhận thấy là có một số những cái nhóm sắc tộc, cộng đồng người Tây Tạng, cộng đồng người Việt tại thành phố Toronto, có cộng đồng người Đài Loan, có cái nhóm tranh đấu cho người Hồng Kông, kể cả những cái nhóm người nguyên dân Việt. Thì nó hơi ồn. Bây giờ thì quý vị có thể nhìn thấy được một số biểu ngữ cũng như những cái tiếng hô của kêu gọi vấn đề nhân quyền cho thế giới. Thì không biết là quý vị có nghe rõ hay không, thì ngay bây giờ có thể là chúng ta sẽ để cho thấy được.
Thank you, thanks a lot. Now we have another speaker from President of East Turkestan Association of Canada.
Có cộng đồng người Việt ở đây chúng ta biết. Anh có thể cho xem mấy cái biểu ngữ này đọc rõ hơn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to express my deepest gratitude to all of you for being here, for standing with us, for joining us in being the voice of the voiceless. Protests like this seem meaningless on the surface as we are so far away from China. But these protests are so important, so crucial against tyranny. In fact, China is not so far away. The CCP is spinning into the foundation of the Canadian government, not to mention the threats that Uyghur Canadians are facing every day. On this International Human Rights Day, we, East Turkestan Association of Canada, strongly condemn China's gross human rights violations against Uyghurs and other Turkic minorities, Tibet, Hong Kong people. Due to lack of meaningful actions against China's atrocities in all countries under the UN Human Rights Council, China continued to disregard the call to end the genocide and speed up the genocide by all means. China concentration camps and lockdown camps were established for Uyghurs and Tibetans as operation models and now being expanded to many cities in China. Canadian government in February 22 declared Chinese treatment of Uyghurs as genocide. Eight other Western countries, including the US and England, since then followed Canada's footsteps and also declared it as genocide. However, no concrete action has been taken other than verbally acknowledging the genocide. More needs to be done to end the suffering of all innocent people under the Chinese Communist regime. Governments should urgently introduce forced labor regulation, impose targeted sanctions, and increase their support for diaspora communities and Uyghur refugees. We, the East Turkestan Association of Canada, call on governments to fulfill their responsibilities and under the UN Genocide Convention and take all necessary steps to end the ongoing Uyghur genocide. We call on world leaders to take immediate action to end the Chinese government's human rights atrocities. Millions of Uyghurs in Chinese concentration camps and the Uyghurs suffering from cold and hunger in current lockdown. Tents are calling you to save their lives. Under the dictatorship of the CCP, it doesn't matter whether it is Xi Jinping or someone else is ruling over the CCP. The genocide happening in East Turkestan, operation against Tibetans, and the brutal silencing the democracy in Hong Kong will not stop until the Communist Party of China is stepped down. Let's continue to fight together against the CCP, and we will be victorious soon. Thanks for standing up for human rights.
Thank you.
Mình cứ thấy chương trình này có mấy người nếu anh không sợ không biết là bắt nghe được.
Step down! Step down! Step down! Communist Party! Communist Party! Communist Party! Free China! Free Hong Kong! Free Tibet! Free Uyghurs! Free Vietnam! Free Myanmar! All right, now I'm going to call one of my good friends, Tình. He's the one who did marathon for Tibet from Toronto to Ottawa, Ottawa to Montreal, and he is one of our RTYC executive board member as well. He's going to speak on behalf of Tibetan community.
Hello everyone, my name is Tình, and I'm the executive member of Tibetan Congress. Sunny is our president, and thanks Sunny for giving me this opportunity. Well, we all know why we are gathered today. As consideration in 1948, United Nations General Assembly that Universal Declaration that Human Rights. And Human Rights is observing every year in December 10. But it sounds very good. You feel like a liberty. But the same human rights and the same liberty is not in Tibet, in Uyghur, in Hong Kong. So, when we look back to the month of May, the UN chief mission granted a visit to Xinjiang to observe the human rights. But we all know that what happened after her visit. Her words and report was not inspiring. And we don't need a diplomatic, we need a honest, and we need the justice. And she was not like that. So we have to, therefore, we have to stand together, stick together, or leaders have to stand together, stick together like a face. Don't wait for the right moment to protest. We have to be protest and fight for nation, fight for brother and sister who is under the CCP operation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shirla. Now, she's one of my second Wonder Woman, you can say, and or Iron Lady. Winnie, I've known her for a long time. Her name is Winnie, and the president of Toronto Association for Democracy in China. Winnie, please.
Good afternoon. No justice, no peace. So if I say no justice, you say no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No freedom, no freedom, no peace. No human rights. No peace. On this landmark day, the International Human Rights Day, I want to invoke the words of 2010 Nobel Peace Laureate, the late Liu Xiaobo. And he said, freedom of expression is the foundation of all human rights. Right now, in China, in Hong Kong, in Tibet, in East Kazakhstan, in Vietnam, in Taiwan, there are people, they are human rights defenders being imprisoned. Their only crime is they dare to speak out, they dare to stand up, and they dare to resist, and they dare to say no to the Chinese Communist Party government. We need to keep their names. And I'm going to call out some of the names. Brother Dick Chen, from the founding president of TADC, holding some of the signs. Let's say, free all political prisoners. Free all political prisoners. Free all political prisoners. Free all political prisoners. On this day, let's remember some of the list is too long, so I'm going to say, free Wang Bingzhang. Free Wang Bingzhang. He has been kidnapped from Thailand and been in prison in China for over 22 years. Free Lei Chao-yan, a labor leader, chair of the Labor Party in Hong Kong. Free Zhou Hantong, lawyer and organizer of the annual June 4th candlelight vigil in Hong Kong, which has now been deemed as a crime. Free Hassani Kelly, a Uyghur Canadian who has been jailed since 2006. And free Joshua Wong, Agnes Chow, student leaders in Hong Kong. Free all political prisoners. Free all political prisoners. I'm just also going to be here to we say to the Chinese and Vietnamese government, we are asking the question, where is Dong Guang Ping? Dong Guang Ping is a human rights defender who spoke out against the government on the 10th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. And since then, he has been persecuted. He had been jailed 3 times, escaped 3 times, and now after 33 months hiding in Vietnam, he has disappeared. The reliable sources, he has been arrested by the Vietnamese government. Nobody has said anything, and we are here to say, where is Dong Guang Ping, a human rights defender who tried so hard to leave, to be reunited with his family here? Before I turn it over to Jiajin, I just want to let everybody know that next year is the 70th anniversary of the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Next year is also the 50th anniversary of the establishment of China and establishment of Canada and Vietnam's diplomatic relations. On those, this year we are going to vow to set up our campaign to push for the release of Dong Guang Ping. We are going to tell China that stop bullying us. Stop bullying us. We're going to mark my word. Chinese Communist Party is going to go down. Mark my word. We, the people, will outlast them. Mark my word. We, the power of the people, will always win. So I'm going to turn it to Jiajin, who's also part of the Federation of Democratic China, and our 2 organizations have been working really hard on Dong Guang Ping's case. He's going to speak briefly on behalf of Dong Guang Ping's family.
Thank you. Yes. Mr. Dong Guang Ping has a daughter in Canada right now. She's only 22 years this year. Since 2015, she had been separated with her father for 7 years. And now, Mr. Dong Guang Ping is gone missing again in Vietnam. Today, here, I'm calling out the Canadian government to act to help Mr. Dong Guang Ping to escape from China, to escape from this evil government. Because we don't know what Communist China will do to Catherine's father this time. But we do know right now, it is a very urgent time for the Canadian government to act to save and rescue Mr. Dong Guang Ping. If the Canadian government doesn't act fast and now, it could be very difficult for Catherine to reunite with her father ever again. And please remember that Catherine is only 22 years old. Are we really going to sit and watch this young girl who has been forcefully separated from her father for 7 years, wait another 7 years or more? Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Free Dong Guang Ping! Free Dong Guang Ping! Free China! Free Tibet! Free East Turkestan! Free Vietnam! Thank you. Free Uyghurs!
I want to call the next speaker from the Vietnamese community, and please.
We stand here today because as of today, December 10th, 2022, the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights has been adopted and recognized for 74 years. Drafting the declaration after the conclusion of World War II, its contributors recognized that human rights were not universally accessible, and they sought to make them a priority for the present and future leaders. At the time, the world had just experienced 2 world wars, the influenza pandemic of 1918, and the world leaders of 1948 taking stock knew certain things to be true, that recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. And a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. Since 1948, this document should have served as the foundation of global society. In Canada, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, adopted as part of our Constitution, legally guarantees certain rights and freedoms. And also in Vietnam, the current Constitution, adopted in 2013, lists in its very second chapter the human rights and basic civil rights guaranteed to all citizens. Similarly, in China, the second chapter lists the fundamental rights and duties of citizens. The Declaration has been translated in over 500 languages, and throughout the world, activists and leaders of movements have used it to guide their work. How many revolutions have been launched on the premise of these rights? Yet while our ideals are based on the Declaration, our realities have not been. Just as the writers of the Declaration recognized symptoms of crisis in 1948, we also, in 2022, stand facing the clear signs of world crises. We are watching as Russia invades and attacks Ukraine. We have continued watching violent attacks on people in many countries, including our own, the murders of our indigenous, Black, and transgender siblings. In China, the Uyghur ethnic community is facing a genocide at the hands of the Chinese government. In Iran, protesters are being brutalized and executed for speaking out against the regime. In Hong Kong, China, Vietnam, and many countries around the world, more political dissidents have been arrested, imprisoned, and worse, without due legal process. These atrocities are the symptoms, the evidence of governments and people's failure or refusal to uphold the very human rights which make up the basis of our societies. I recognize as I speak here today that in Vietnam, China, Hong Kong, Tibet, Iran, and around the world, activists have been unjustly imprisoned without regard for human rights for doing the same thing I am doing now. The same governments which based their own constitutions and laws on the Declaration now oppress any political dissidents. This year, the UN has made the slogan for Human Rights Day, dignity, freedom, and justice for all. So do we believe, as the Declaration states, that all people are entitled to rights without distinction of race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or status, that we have the right not to be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile, the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law, to be entitled to a fair and public hearing, and are presumed innocent until proven guilty, that we have the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, freedom of opinion and expression, and freedom of peaceful assembly and association, finally, that everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms of this declaration can be fully realized. I know I do, and I also think deep down we all believe this. So when it is time that we have governments, economies, and institutions which prioritize human rights and freedoms for all people across the world, and it is time that we mobilize the rights we do have to ensure these fundamental rights for our siblings, friends, and neighbors everywhere, internationally. Not only when it is convenient, not only when it is cost-effective, not only when it is diplomatic or popular or easy, but at all times. Only then can we have universal human rights.
Thank you. Step down! Step down! Step down! All right. 33 years ago, in 1989, is the day that His Holiness 14 Dalai Lama got the Nobel Peace Prize on the International Human Rights Day. So I'm just going to play the speech.
Your Majesty, members of the Nobel Committee, brothers and sisters, I am very happy to be here with you today to receive the Nobel Prize for Peace. I feel great honor, humble, and deeply moved that you should give this important prize to a simple Buddhist monk of Tibet. I am no one special, but I believe the prize is a recognition of the true value of altruism, love, compassion, and non-violence, which I try to practice in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha and the great sages of India and Tibet. I accept the prize with profound gratitude on behalf of the oppressed everywhere and for all those who struggle for freedom and work for world peace. I accept it as a tribute to the man who founded the modern tradition of non-violent action for change. Whose life taught and inspired me. And of course, I accept it on behalf of the 6 million Tibetans, my dear countrymen and women inside Tibet, who have suffered and continue to suffer so much. They confront a calculated and systematic strategy aimed at the destruction of their national and cultural identity. The prize reaffirms our conviction that with truth, courage, and determination as our weapons, Tibet will be liberated.
Thank you, guys. That was the speech. It was delivered by His Holiness 14 Dalai Lama 33 years ago, when he received the Nobel Peace Prize. All right, now we have a last speaker from the Burma Canadian Association of Ontario.
Good afternoon, everyone. First speech for Ministry of Human Rights, Unity Government of the Republic Union of Myanmar. The National Unity Government Republic Union of Myanmar joined the global celebration of Human Rights Day 2022. This year theme, dignity, freedom, justice for all. Hold special meaning to us, dignity, freedom and justice lie at the head of our revolution. The people of the Myanmar demand and defend them a universal right through their the resilience and resistance. And for this, we continue to pay terror for over 22 months. The illegal military children has bombed
anh đứng im đó, anh đứng im rồi, ok rồi anh, ok mấy một ạ.
Xin quay lại với tất cả quý vị. Quý vị đã nhìn thấy đại diện một số các hội đoàn có lên tiếng gồm có nhiều sách nhân như tôi đã trình bày ngay từ đầu. Thì như tất cả quý vị cũng biết, ngày hôm nay là ngày 10 tháng 12 năm 2022 thì Việt Tân cũng có phát cái giải nhân quyền và cũng có ngày hôm nay cũng phát cái thọ bên Nhật Bản và cái giải thưởng nhân quyền và quốc tế nhân quyền cho Việt Nam năm nay được giao cho nhà giáo Nguyễn Năng Tĩnh. Thì quý vị biết là hàng năm thì đảng Việt Tân có trao cái giải, thì năm nay thì nhà giáo Nguyễn Năng Tĩnh là được cái giải nhân quyền năm 2022 do đảng Việt Tân xướng. Thì quý vị nhìn thấy là vừa rồi tôi là hiện giờ cũng có rất là nhiều đồng bào, mặc dù trời rất là lạnh nhưng mà người ta vẫn còn ở đây cho đến là có thể chắc khoảng chừng 15 phút nữa thì sẽ chấm dứt cái buổi ngày nay. Và thời tiết ngay bây giờ đó thì quý vị thấy là cũng rất là lạnh, hiện giờ ở khoảng chừng trừ 10 độ C. Với gió lớn thì ngày hôm nay thì thời tiết không có được đẹp lắm, không có nắng. Mặc dù vậy thì còn rất là nhiều còn ở lại đây. Thì có thể ngay bây giờ tôi có thể tìm được xem phỏng vấn một cái người nào không, nhưng mà tôi cho tới giờ ai cũng làm rõ. Có lẽ là tí xíu nữa tôi sẽ quay lại với cái cảnh gì.
By peace, sustainable development, and by justice and accountability. We also join to call action, stand up for human rights. In turn, we call on the international community to transform this year team into real action in support of frontline defender, the world over who are giving their all, their right over all. Step down, CCP! Everybody step down! Free China! Free China! Free Tibet! Free Hong Kong! Free Uyghur! Free Vietnam! Free Vietnam! Stand with Taiwan! Canada, stand for human rights! Wake up, human! Wake up, human! Stop killing our students! No more genocide! No more genocide! No more genocide! Release all our prisoners! Release all our prisoners! Down with military dictatorship! Down with military dictatorship! Revolution, we must win! No more genocide! Zero more army! Zero more army! Zero more army!
Thank you. All right, now we're going to do the last. All right, we have Mr. Kurt. He's going to perform for us.
Yeah, I use this one. I'm from Taiwan, so before I started, can I invite a gentleman who will lead the Taiwan's flag and come and sit beside me? Is that possible? one who's holding the Taiwanese flag. Yeah. Is it tied down? I'm sorry. Oh, it's okay. I have the other one. Oh, thank you so much. I just stand beside me. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, that's right. Okay, actually, Taiwan is my motherland, and unfortunately, this flag probably does not mean Taiwan, but we'll talk about that later. So the song that I want to sing is I wrote in 2019. The song support Hong Kong protest. The song is called Taste of Freedom. I'm trying to play better, my fingers. Freedom.
Take you stand on a wonderful day by the Christmas sky. We'll be holding stand where the black night stand. Tell me the taste of freedom. Maybe it's sunshine flashing before we go to start morning. Can I try in the brain? What a beautiful you, why we don't see that when we're morning gray. We are taking steps while the wonderful day, why leaves the sky. We will be holding hands. I'll never recognize them. Tell me the taste of freedom. I heard it defeat of being. Before I wake up my fear, can I relieve? It's what it seems. Tell me the taste of freedom. I heard it was sweet on the beat. Before I wake up my fear, can I live with blood and tears? This is my sky. This is my time. Together we are. This is where I stand.
Thank you so much. We did it. Okay, so this song you can find on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and blah blah blah, whatever it is. But all the income, I will donate those money to any associate to help for freedom. And thanks for coming. Thanks everyone. We made it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm really proud of you. Thank you. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a group picture. Can everyone come closer? All right, guys, bring your own flags. Stand in the middle. Bring the banners. Mr. Trent, stand. Bring the banners. Let's take a group picture and please hold the A4 size paper. Brother. All right, guys. Yes, Free Myanmar, banner up. Tiananmen Square, International Human Rights, yes. Ready? All right, guys. Going to stand there, okay? All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And before you guys go home and relax, I want to say thanks to my special team, Mr. George, who's responsible for the sound system, that you guys can hear my voice. Thanks to Mr. George. Thank you, Mr. George. And I want to say special thanks to my brother, my hero, Mr. Martin, the special security. Over there, Mr. Martin, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Martin, and thank you, Mr. George. Thank you, everybody.
Wait. Everybody wait 1 second.
All right, wait 1 second. He wants to take a picture. All right, guys, let's take a lot of pictures. And when you post in the social media, please hashtag Step Down Xi Jinping, Communist Party Step Down, and put all the hashtag you want. All right, guys. All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you. So we are done for today, but don't forget that our job is still not done yet. So share all your pictures and video in social media, and let's talk about the freedom. Thank you.
Great speech. Yes, a little bit. I connect with of course, you as well. Stay warm.
And yeah, sorry, I have one announcement to make. Tomorrow we have a candlelight vigil over here, starting from 5:30, and it's regarding about the Room Key fire, like that happened like a week ago. So, thank you.
Anh ơi, bây giờ coi như vậy mình thấy anh thông báo với anh Nhân chương trình hết. Bây giờ